Alright, today we're going to do the CITC 2320 Lab 3, which is managing and configuring hard drives. And on this lab, in part 1, we're going to be using disk management to initialize a hard disk in Server Manager using the GPT, initializing the remaining hard disk using disk management, create a sample volume formatted as NTFS, extend that volume by 4 gigabytes, shrink that volume by 2 gigabytes, and expand the volume by expanding the storage by 5 gigabytes onto another disk. We're also going to create a mirrored disk using all the disks on 2 hard drives, create a RAID 5 using all space on 3 hard drives, and then in part 2 we're going to be using Server Manager. And in Server Manager we're going to create a storage pool and name it pool, create a 5 gigabyte mirrored virtual drive using thin provisioning, create a volume on the mirror using all available space, extend the mirror to 10 gigabytes, and then detach the mirror. Then we're going to create a 5 gigabyte parity virtual drive with RAID 5 with thin provisioning, create a volume of 5 gigabytes formatted as NTFS, extend the RAID volume to 50 gigabytes, add the 4th disk to the storage pool, and then we're going to create a 16 gigabyte parity virtual drive fixed and formatted also as NTFS. Create a volume of maximal size and extend the volume to maximal size. And then lastly, we're going to use the PowerShell to delete the parity virtual disk and storage pool created in part 2. Alright, now that everything's loaded up, first you're going to click File and Storage Services, go into Disks, and let this load up real quick. Okay, now that everything's loaded, the first thing we're going to do is take one of these drives, which I'm going to use the first drive, and I'm going to initialize it, or bring it online first, and I'm going to initialize it as GPT. So you're going to initialize, and it's going to ask you, perform this erases all data on the disk, and initialize it as a GPT disk, which is what we want. So you're going to click yes. And now while I'm already here, I'm going to go ahead and just bring all the other disks online real quick. Alright, now I'm going to open up Disk Manager. So you click the Start menu. Just going to search for it. And click it. And right here, it's going to ask you, before you initialize the disk, it's going to ask you which one you want. And we're going to have to do the GPT. And you click OK, and it's going to load them all up. So I'm going to go ahead and full screen this real quick. As you can see, we have disk 1, disk 2, disk 3, and disk 4. Okay, so now we're going to create a simple volume using 5 gigabytes of disk 1. So right here's disk 1. So you're going to right click it and click simple. Click next, and so right here it's going to ask you how big you want it. And since it's in megabytes, we need 5 gigabytes, so it's going to be 5,000. So you click next. I'm going to go ahead and make it save it to, and we want it to NTFS file. So there it is. You click next, and you click finish, and it's formatted. Once that gets okay, and now that it's done formatting, we're going to extend it by 4 gigabytes. So you're going to right click it again, and click extend. You're going to click next, and since we still want this same disk, it says down here select the amount of space in megabytes. So yet again, it's in megabytes, so we're going to expand it by 4 gigabytes. It's going to be 4,000 this time. And click finish. And as you can see, it extended it. Okay, so now we're going to shrink it by 2 gigabytes. So we're going to right click it and click shrink volume. And this one, it says enter the amount of space to shrink. Yet again, it's in megabytes. So we're going to shrink it by 2,000, which is 2,000 megabytes, which is 2 gigabytes. So we're going to shrink it. As you can see, it shrunk. And now we're going to create a span volume using that disk 1 and another disk, or 5 gigabytes of another disk. So we're going to click this disk. We're going to extend it. But instead of having disk 1, we're going to remove that one and take disk 2 and add it in. and we're going to expand it by 5 gigabytes. So that's going to be yet again 5,000 megabytes. So then you click next and finish. And it's going to ask you if you want to. It's going to convert them from basic disk to dynamic disk. You're just going to click yes. And as you can see, the color changed. It was like a yellowish color, yellow orange, but now it's purple. And if you look down here, it says spanned volume, and it's this one and this one, since they're both purple. And now we're going to delete the spanned volume. So to do that, you just delete one volume, and it deletes both of them. They go back to unallocated. And as you can see, what happens, to make it expand, it converted the dynamic disk, and then when you delete it, it goes back to basic disks. Okay, so now we're going to create a mirror using all space on 2 disks. So we're going to click this one again. We're going to make a mirror. So you click mirror, and click next, and you say you want 2 disks. So you take over and you click add disk 2, and we're going to use all the space. We're going to go ahead and sign it to E again, and you click finish. As you can see, it's going to convert the basic disk to a dynamic disk. And we're going to click yes. And as you can see, they're both red. These 2 are red, which means if you look down here, it says they're mirrored. And so right now it's going to format. It's going to take a little bit to format, so I'll come back to you once it's done formatting. Alright, as you can see, the mirrored disks are formatted now. And as you can see, they're red, so it says mirrored volume. But let's say for some reason that you only put like 5 gigabytes on there, and it takes up all of it. Like maybe you want to extend it, or you put like half, or you put too much on it, you need to shrink it. Well, unfortunately, you cannot do that. The only way to do that is to break it and redo a mirror. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and break it. We're going to go ahead and break the mirror. If you would like to break the mirrored volume, your data will become longer. Yeah, we will click yes. Alright, and then as you can see, both disks are still dynamic, but they're not a mirror anymore. As you can see, they came back to that orange and yellow color, which is a simple volume. Alright, so now what we're going to do, we're going to create a RAID 5 using space on all 3 of the disks. So you have to delete the volumes before you can create your RAID 5. So once you delete your volume, you make sure everything's unallocated again. You click it, and then click New RAID 5 Volume. And now since you want to use 3 disks, we're going to use disk 1, disk 2, and disk 3. And we want to use all the space. And so we're going to click Next. We're going to make it assign letter E. We want the NTFS files. So we're going to click Finish, and it's going to convert it from a basic to a dynamic again. So you're going to click Yes. And as you can see, it's like a bright blue. And if you look down here, it says RAID 5 volume. Alright, now that you can see, everything is finally formatted. And as you can see, it's got a bright blue bar on all 3 of them. So 3 disks, disk 1, 2, and 3. And they're all RAID 5. And there are a couple cool things about this. On this, you cannot, for a RAID, you cannot expand it or shrink it. To do it, you have to pretty much delete the RAID and start over. And then there's a nice button called Repair Volume. And what that does is, let's say like one of your disks gets corrupt or it just breaks, you can repair it, and that way you can bring back up your RAID. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to delete this RAID. And to do that, you right click it, delete volume, and you click yes. And as you can see, all of them go back to unallocated disks, and they all go back to basics. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to minimize disk management. We're going to load up Server Manager again. And once that loads up, we're going to create a storage pool. How you do that, you click File and Storage Services. You click Storage Pools. You let it load up, and you go to Tasks, right here. You click New Storage Pool. You're going to click Next, and we're going to give it a name. Let's name it Pool. And you click Next. And on this pool, we want 3 disks to add to the storage pool. So I'm going to use disk 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to create it. Once it's created, you can just hit close. And as you can see down here, once you click pull on physical disk, it shows disk 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to create a virtual drive with thin provising with a 5 gigabytes. So you click right here, and you click next, and you want to click the pull option, and you click next again, and we're going to name this one Parity 1. You're going to click next, and we're going to make it a mirror, and we want thin, and we're going to want a 5 gigabyte one, and since we're in Server Manager, it says gigabytes, so it only a 5 on this time. You click next. We're going to create it. Once I created, you can hit close. And then now, as you can see, we made a new virtual disk over here. Let me move this out of the way for you. Nope. Okay, I'll just minimize it. But as you can see right here, we made a new virtual disk. And so now it's going to want us to put a volume in there. Okay, so we're going to click next. And the volume we're going to want is we want all the space on the mirror. We want all of it. So we're going to click here because this is the Parity 1. We're going to click next. And we want all the space, so 5 gigabytes. So we click next. We're going to have drive lever E. We want it in the file system NTFS. We're going to create it. Once that's done, you can hit close. And now I'm going to show you something. So if you open disk management, all you have is your C drive, then your CD-ROM, and then right here we have disk 4 and disk 5. Well, see, disk 5 is your virtual drive, which is 1, 2, and 3. It all puts it together. And on the mirror, if you can look, it shows up as a basic drive, and that's not a dynamic drive; it's a basic drive. And the reason you can see disk 4 but not disk 3 is because disk 1, 2, and 3 are in this mirror right here. So it acts as one disk since it's a storage pool. And that's why you can see this one because we didn't put in disk 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop back over to Server Manager. And then now in Server Manager, we're going to extend the mirror to 10 gigabytes. So to do that, you just right click this and hit extend. And we're going to want it to be 10 gigabytes, so you type in 10, and you click OK. As you can see, it says capacity 10 gigabytes right here, and it only says right here it only says 1 gigabyte allocated though. That's because in thin it only uses as much as it needs, but yet it has 9 more, so it only fills up as it needs it. So now I'm going to show you some interesting things about this. We're going to go into properties, and here in general you can change the name, you can put a description, you can see its provising type. Like I said, its capacity is 10 gigabytes, and it only uses a gigabyte. Its health, you can see all the drives that are okay. You can see the capacity of all of them and how much what the free space is, and that's pretty much it about that. And now we're going to detach the mirror. So to do that, you just right click it, you go detach virtual disk, and you click OK. Okay, now you see this little triangle caution cone. And so now if you pull up disk management again, as you can see before we had disk 0, disk 4, and disk 5, and then the CD-ROM down here. Well, pretty much when you detach it, it pretty much just takes it away from this. Like you can't see it. It's kind of just vanishes for right now. But if you go back into it and you actually right click it and delete it. Okay, but now we're going to create a 5 GB parity virtual drive. So you click right here to create another one. And you're going to want to pull again. So you click next. And you go here, we're going to create parity. We're going to make a parity. So you click next. And we still want it to be thin. And then again, we want 5 GB. We're going to click create. And it's going to create it. So once it's created, you can click close. And then yet again, since we made a new virtual disk, we're going to have to create a new volume. And we want it to be 5 GB on this one. So we're going to click here. It's going to be 5 GB, which it is. And we want it as the NTFS. And we're going to click create. Now, one of the reasons that we didn't have to specify which drives we wanted is because it already does it dynamically for us, so we don't have to worry about selecting which disk. So it uses all 3 of these. So now we want to extend the RAID. We're going to extend this RAID right here to 50 GB. So you right click it, extend, and you click here and you go to 50. And as you can see it pulls it up. It's got 5 here and 5 here. So you go back to Server Manager. You can see it, 50 GB allocated, or 50 capacity and 2 allocated. Okay, but what if you want to shrink it? Well, see, there's no option to shrink it, but you can hit extend again, and if you type in 20, it says the new size must be larger. So there's no way to shrink it. So it acts like a RAID, as you have to go back into it and recreate the whole thing for it to have if you overdo it. And the reason we can extend it to 50, since there's only 30 GB in it, technically, is because in the way thin provisioning works, you can always go back and add more drives as you need it. So if it gets closer to the capacity, you can always just go in and add more drives over here. Okay, so now we're going to delete it. Delete it, you have to click detach virtual disk, and you click yes, and it's going to come up with a little cosmic triangle again. So you're going to right click and click delete. We're going to click yes. And as you can see, it's deleted. And so now, let's say we need more space. So we're going to add the fourth disk we have to the storage pool. So you right click up here where it says pool, you right click it, and you click add physical disk. You click this physical disk 4 and you click OK. And it's adding it. And as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have all 4 physical disks in there. Okay, so now we want to create another parity drive. So you click here again, you click next. It's going to be in pool. Okay, so now we're going to name it parity again. We're going to click next. Might want it a parity. But this time, instead of thin, we're going to do fixed. And the difference is, thin uses it fills it up as it needs. The fixed, it just takes the space whether it needs it or not. It makes it equal to it. The storage pool, it makes it equal to the volume size. So okay, so we want 16 GB. So we type in 16. You're going to click next. You click create. Alright, once it's created, we need to make a volume. Now on this, we want the volume of maximum size. So you're going to click next, next, say 17.9, 17.9. So we're going to click next, next, and we want it as the NTFS. So we're going to click next again, and we're going to create it. Alright, now that it's done, you can go ahead and close. And now it's right here. Okay, but now we want to extend the volume to the maximum size. So you're going to right click it and you're going to hit extend. And as you can see up here, the current size is 18 GB, but the maximum size it can be is 24. So you go here and you click 24 GB. And click OK. And it's going to come up here. As you can see, there's 18 here and 6, so that makes 24. So you go back to Server Manager. And so now, as you can see, it's 24 GB here as well. And since it's fixed, it allocates 25 gigabytes for it. So now we want to delete this, but we don't want to just right click it and detach it and delete it like this. We're going to go into the PowerShell and do it. So you're going to click right here at PowerShell. And now there's going to be two commands you need to type in because we're going to remove the virtual disks and we're going to remove the virtual disk and the storage pool. So to do that, you're going to type in remove dash virtual disk space and its name, which we named it parity. You hit here. It's going to come up with confirm. Are you sure you want to perform this action? And it's going to click Y, and you're going to hit enter. And as you can see right here, it's going to delete it, and it deleted it. So now we're going to remove the storage pool. So then you type in remove dash storage pool, which we name pool. And hit enter again, and it's going to ask you again, do you want to confirm? And you press Y and enter. And as you can see again right here, it's going to delete it. And if I go ahead and close this out, but look, they're still here. Okay, well, you got to refresh it first. So if you refresh it, after it gets done refreshing, this will be gone. And it still says over here, but if you click this, they're still over here, but they're not on pool anymore. They're on primordial. And so that concludes the end of this video. Thank you.